Hey guys, it's Miss Gibson and my friend the Cat in the Hat. I'm sure you all know him. And we are here to present our next book. Today we are going to read one of our favorite Dr. Seuss books. This is The Lorax. Again, it's by Dr. Seuss, and we hope you like it. At the far end of town, where the grickle grass grows, and the wind smells slow and sour when it blows, and no birds ever sing excepting old crows, is the street of the lifted Lorax. And deep in the grickle grass, some people say, if you look deep enough, you can still see today where the Lorax once stood, just as long as it could, before somebody lifted the Lorax away. What was the Lorax? And why was it there? And why was it lifted and taken somewhere from the far end of town where the grickle grass grows? The old Onceler still lives here. Ask him. He knows. You won't see the Onceler. Don't knock at his door. He stays in his lurkum on top of his store. He lurks in his lurkum, cold under the roof, where he makes his own clothes out of miff-muffered moof. And on special dank midnights in August, he peeks out of the shutters, and sometimes he speaks, and tells how the Lorax was lifted away. He'll tell you, perhaps, if you're willing to pay. On the end of a rope, he lets down a tin pail, and you have to toss in 15 cents and a nail, and the shell of a great-great-great-grandfather snail. Then he pulls up the pail, makes a most careful count to see if you've paid him the proper amount. Then he hides what you paid him away in his snub, his secret strange hole in his groovulous glove. Then he grunts, I will call you by whisper-ma-phone, for the secrets I tell are for your ears alone. Slop! Down slops the whisper-ma-phone to your ear, and the old Onceler's whispers are not very clear, since they have to come down through a snurgly hose, and he sounds as if he had smallish bees up his nose. Now I'll tell you, he says, with his teeth sounding gray, how the Lorax got lifted and taken away. It all started way back, such a long, long time back. Way back in the days when the grass was still green, and the pond was still wet, and the clouds were still clean, and the song of the swummy swans rang out in space. One morning I came to this glorious place, and I first saw the trees, the truffula trees, the bright-colored tufts of the truffula trees, mile after mile in the fresh morning breeze. And under the trees I saw brown barbaloots, frisking about in their barbaloot suits, as they played in the shade and ate truffula fruits. From the ripulous pond came the comfortable sound of the humming fish humming while splashing around. But those trees, those truffula trees! All my life I've been searching for trees such as these. The touch of their tufts was much softer than silk, and they had the sweet smell of fresh butterfly milk. I felt a great leaping of joy in my heart. I knew just what I'd do. I unloaded my cart. In no time at all, I had built a small shop. Then I chopped down a truffula tree with one chop, and with great skillful skill and with great speedy speed, I took the soft tuft, and I knitted a thneed. The instant I'd finished, I heard a gazump. I looked. I saw something pop out of the stump of the tree I'd chopped down. It was sort of a man. Describe him? That's hard. I don't know if I can. He was shortish, and oldish, and brownish, and mossy, and he spoke with a voice that was sharpish and bossy. Mister, he said with a sawdusty sneeze, I am the Lorax. I speak for the trees. I speak for the trees have no tongues. And I'm asking you, sir, at the top of my lungs. He was very upset as he shouted and puffed. What's that thing you've made out of my truffula tuft? Look, Lorax, I said, there's no cause for alarm. I chopped just one tree. I am doing no harm. I'm being quite useful. This thing is a thneed. A thneed's a fine something that all people need. It's a shirt, it's a sock, it's a glove, it's a hat. But it has other uses. Yes, far beyond that. You can use it for carpets, for pillows, for sheets, or curtains, or covers for bicycle seats. The Lorax said, "Sir, you are crazy with greed. There is no one on earth who would buy that fool Thneed." But the very next minute I proved he was wrong. For just at that minute, a chap came along, and he thought that the Thneed I had knitted was great. He happily bought it for $3.98. I laughed at the Lorax. "You poor stupid guy. You never can tell what some people will buy." "I repeat," cried the Lorax, "I speak for the trees." "I'm busy," I told him. "Shut up, if you please." I rushed across the room and in no time at all built a radio phone. I put in a quick call. I called on my brothers and uncles and aunts, and I said, "Listen here, here's a wonderful chance for the whole Wensler family to get mighty rich. Get over here fast. Take the road to North Initch. Turn left at Weehawken, sharp right at South Stitch." And in no time at all, in the factory I built, the whole Wensler family was working full tilt. We were all knitting Thneeds, just as busy as bees, to the sound of the chopping of truffula trees. Then, oh, baby, oh, how my business did grow! Now, chopping one tree at a time was too slow. So I quickly invented my super axe hacker, which whacked off 4 truffula trees at one smacker. We were making Thneeds 4 times as fast as before. And that Lorax? He didn't show up anymore. But the next week he knocked on my new office door. He snapped, "I'm the Lorax who speaks for the trees, which you seem to be chopping as fast as you please. But I'm also in charge of the brown barbaloots, who played in the shade in their barbaloot suits, and happily lived eating truffula fruits. Now, thanks to your hacking my trees to the ground, there's not enough truffula fruit to go round, and my poor barbaloots are all getting the crummies because they have gas and no food in their tummies. They loved living here, but I can't let them stay. They'll have to find food, and I hope that they may. Good luck, boys," he cried, and he sent them away. I, the Wensler, felt sad as I watched them all go, but business is business, and business must grow, regardless of crummies and tummies, you know. I meant no harm, I most truly did not, but I had to grow bigger, so bigger I got. I biggered my factory, I biggered my roads, I biggered my wagons, I biggered the loads. Of the Thneeds I shipped out, I was shipping them forth, to the south, to the east, to the west, to the north. I went right on biggering, selling more Thneeds, and I biggered my money, which everyone needs. Then again he came back. I was fixing some pipes, when that old nuisance Lorax came back with more gripes. "I am the Lorax." He coughed and he whiffed, he sneezed and he snuffled, he snargled, he sniffed. "Wensler," he cried with a crofulous croak. "Wensler, you're making such smogulous smoke. My poor swami swans, why, they can't sing a note. No one can sing who has smog in his throat." "And so," said the Lorax, "please pardon my cough. They cannot live here, so I'm sending them off. Where will they go? I don't hopefully know. They may have to fly for a month or a year to escape from the smog you've smogged up around here." "What's more," snapped the Lorax, his dander was up, "let me say a few words about Gluppity-Glup. Your machinery chugs on, day and night without stop, making Gluppity-Glup. Also Schloppity-Schlop. And what do you do with this leftover goo? I'll show you, you dirty old Wensler man, you. You're glumping the pond where the hummingfish hummed. No more can they hum, for their gills are all gummed. So I'm sending them off. Oh, their future is dreary. They'll walk on their fins and get woefully weary, in search of some water that isn't so smeary." And then I got mad. I got terribly mad. I yelled at the Lorax. "Now listen here, Dad. All you do is yap yap and say bad, 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 bad. Well, I have my rights, sir, and I'm telling you, I intend to go on doing just what I do. And, for your information, you Lorax, I'm figuring on biggering and biggering and biggering and biggering, turning more truffula trees into Thneeds, which everyone needs." And at that very moment, we heard a loud whack. From outside in the fields came a sickening smack of an axe on a tree. Then we heard the tree fall, the very last truffle tree of them all. No more trees, no more needs, no more work to be done. So in no time, my uncles and aunts, every one, all waved me goodbye. They jumped into my cars and drove away under the smoke-smuggered stars. Now all that was left neath the bad-smelling sky was my big empty factory, the Lorax, and I. The Lorax said nothing, just gave me a glance, just gave me a very sad, sad backward glance, as he lifted himself by the seat of his pants. And I'll never forget the grim look on his face when he heisted himself and took leave of this place, through a hole in the smog, without leaving a trace. And all that the Lorax left here in this mess was a small pile of rocks, with the one word, unless. Whatever that meant, well, I just couldn't guess. That was long, long ago, but each day since that day, I've sat here and worried away. Through the years while my buildings have fallen apart, I've worried about it with all of my heart. But now, says the Onceler, now that you're here, the word of the Lorax seems perfectly clear. Unless someone like you cares a whole awful lot, nothing is going to get better. It's not. So, catch, calls the Onceler. He lets something fall. It's a truffle seed. It's the last one of all. You're in charge of the last of the truffle seeds. And truffle trees are what everyone needs. Plant a new truffle, treat it with care, give it clean water, and feed it fresh air. Grow a forest, protect it from axes that hack. Then the Lorax and all of his friends may come back. Now that we've read the Lorax, we are going to draw the Lorax. This is one of my favorite art projects. So for this project, you will need blank paper and a pencil and either crayons or markers. Let's get started. Okay, so to draw the Lorax, we are going to have our paper in portrait orientation with the longer sides on the left and the right and the shorter sides at the top and the bottom. We're going to start in the middle of our paper with his mustache. That's just going to be a curved line going one way and a curved line going the other way. Now, he looks kind of furry, so we are just going to make some little triangle shapes, and then we are going to come back towards the center. We're going to even it up here to end our mustache. So we are just making some little triangle shaped points. We're going to make it look as full and furry as possible until we get back to the center. So his nose is going to go right here, and his mouth is just going to be another little half circle. So for the top of our Lorax head, we're going to start about halfway out where his mustache is and just draw a half circle to make it even on the other side. So his eyes are going to be two ovals. We're going to start about the middle of his nose and curve them around. Same on both sides. And then he's got some eyelids that are just a curved line going across the top. And his actual pupils are just like a U shape, just like the letter U. He's got some eyebrows that are just some little hairs. You can put them sort of up here above his eyes. So now he looks kind of fuzzy. For his body, this part's pretty easy. A lot of him is hidden by the mustache. So we are going to draw his arms out. We're going to imagine his shoulders are probably about here. So we're going to draw out an arm on one side. We're going to give him about 4 little triangle fuzzy shaped fingers. And pull that back up. And then we're just going to draw his body. It's going to be kind of round. We're going to do the same thing on the other side. And draw an arm out with some triangular shaped fingers. Go back up. We're going to try to make it even with the other side, so I might have to erase just a little. And then again, give him a little round curve to his body. We're going to give him some legs. That's just going to be straight down. And then his feet are also just going to have some little pointy triangular shaped toes. The other part of his leg. We're going to do the same thing on the other side. Again, we're going to try to make them even. Give him 3 or 4 triangular fuzzy toes. Then we're just going to round out the bottom. And there is our Lorax outline. Now for the best part, our Lorax needs to be colored. So I'm just going to make his mouth pink. You can make it be whatever color you want, but I know in our book, a lot of times it's like you can see his tongue. So I'm going to go ahead and color that pink. And then I'm going to make his nose a dark orange, because his nose is kind of the same color as the rest of him, but just to make it stand out a little bit. So now I have the tiny parts. And next I am going to go with his mustache. You know his mustache was that nice bright yellow. So I'm using crayons. You can use markers, colored pencils, crayons, whatever you have handy, whatever you prefer to use. Make sure you get his nice bright yellow mustache. Now, before we color the Lorax's body, we want to make sure he looks furry. So, since we use these little triangle shapes to make his mustache look furry, we can do sort of the same thing with our pencil down his body. We can just make some little fur marks, and that can go all the way down. You can also make more little triangle shapes to just make him look like he is a little furrier. Now for the orange. Our Lorax is mostly orange. So pretty much everything else on his body, his face, his arms, his legs, you are just going to take your orange crayon, marker, colored pencil, whatever you're using, and we're just going to get him nice and orange. You can color it as dark or as lightly as you would like to. We are almost finished. Okay guys, our Lorax is finished. The only thing, if you would like to add a background for him, you could definitely put some nice little grass lines at the bottom. Make it look like he's outside. You could draw a truffle tree if you wanted to. You could add in some clouds at the back. We'll do that really quickly and see how it looks. And there you have it, guys, our totally finished Lorax. I think he looks amazing with his nice little background with his grass and his sky, and it makes his orange pop. So I can't wait to see yours. Remember, send them to me through Google Classroom or bring them to our next Google Meet. See you soon. We hope you enjoyed the Lorax as much as we did. And remember his words. Unless someone like you cares a whole awful lot, nothing is going to get better. It's not. Thanks for listening.